Let's fucking roll. All right, everybody, welcome back to the McBastard Studio. I'm Brad Banyas. You're listening to the SaltyMF GOAT podcast today. We're really excited to talk to David and Crystal Spang. They are the founders and owners of Nine Dot Cannabis Beverages, and we're really excited to learn about this cannabis drink. And I wanted to drink a bunch before, but my staff advised not to do it. So here we are. David, Crystal, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, I love it. I love your marketing behind it. You know, I saw the can and started looking at you guys, and it just looks like some good stuff. So I want to learn about the cannabis beverage industry because you know we've been around the weed and the hemp and some of the stuff that they're doing, the gummies. But I'm curious about this market. It's exploding, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been in the hemp industry for going on 8 years now. The beverage side we've been working on for about the last year and a half. And yeah, over the years, we've seen a few explosions in the industry, right? Obviously, CBD exploded, then Delta 8 THC, or other hemp-derived THC in 2020. And now we're seeing the same trends with the beverage sector where just the reception from the general public is through the roof. Even some distribution companies are looking at it. Like, it is going so mainstream so quickly. Yeah. It's super encouraging to see cannabis move in this direction.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love it. I love it. So Crystal, how did you guys meet? And like, you guys just fell in love over the cannabis? Is that what it was?
Pretty much. No. So actually, when I first met David, or prior to meeting David, I was like, I'm not going to date a guy who smokes weed. Like, was not interested in it at all. I meet David. He loves weed, of course, you know. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to make this work. You know, and one thing I loved about it was, you know, even though he used cannabis, it never changed who he was as a person. He was always like very, you know, determined and hardworking, and always had such a great business mindset. Like, that really attracted me to him.
Yeah.
So in 2017, several years after we were dating, he was like, I think I want to get into the cannabis space and let's open up a store. And me, just a natural partner, you know, I wanted to help him, of course, in any way. So we opened our first store. And even though I'm not a diehard cannabis lover, I do love the industry for a couple of reasons. One, it helps people. I love helping people, especially elderly people. We see so many of them. And now with the drink, it's like perfect for me because it is a low dose social buzz, basically. So yeah, we basically fell in love, started cannabis together, and yeah.
I love it. The real truth behind this is she said, if you don't make some kind of beverage and stop smoking this cannabis, this is over. Just Dave, let's be honest about it.
Well, she saw me in the heyday of my cannabis consumption, you know, traveling out to Colorado all the time to, you know, be in the industry and keep up with that side of things. So it's changed over the years, though. You know, the accessibility we have now on the East Coast is totally different than it was when we first met, you know, 11, 12 years ago. So yeah, it's been cool to see it grow.
Yeah, we went out to LA and I like, I'm gonna bring some gummies back, you know, and I like so panicked, like I'm buying like Skittles bags and stuff and hiding the gummies in there, you know. I'm like, I mean, it's down in like little sugar worms and all that. Like, there's no way they're gonna. And they pull my back.
No.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there, and the guys
You're
like,
sweating.
you call the guys when he calls me Pops. He's, oh shit, Pops! They pulled the bag, and I was like, dude, there's nothing in there,
it's just
right?
Skittles.
Yeah.
And the guy that pulled it was looking at me, and this other guy was behind him, and the guy's like, and he's pointing at me, and the guy behind him, I don't know if it's a security guard, he looks at me and he winks. He goes, let him go. And I was like, oh, dude, yes. We get back, explain my wife, I'm in prison for, it's just gummies. I mean, I don't know, you know.
How would they test it? I mean, I'm pretty sure TSA says we are looking for bombs.
Yeah.
We don't really care about your cannabis.
Yeah,
maybe it was. I didn't talk. I left that part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you left on the bomb part.
Yeah.
I think I met their profile pic with my beard.
Yeah, exactly.
They profiled me. I'm suing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
How dare they profile me?
Yeah, but hey, the days are over where you got to fly to California and bring it back, right? You have access in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida. We're all establishing hemp guidelines. And I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding in the hemp industry and what access to both CBD and THC we have and the definition of cannabis that we are establishing throughout the Southeast, I think would really surprise people. And there's a lot of misunderstandings about it, but I think people are, kind of becoming more in tune with what we do have access to.
Well, I mean, I think that'd be good because I think a lot of people don't know, because you grow up and I was born in the hippie era, so I'm a flower child born. But I think a lot of people just have a lot of misconceptions about the medical use of marijuana, the medical use of THC for pain or whatever it may be. Like there's still more and more through people getting educated like yourself and educating people. You're obviously in the wellness business, but the general public, they don't know.
Yep. Right.
I don't know what the difference is between Delta 8, Delta 9. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know what that means, right?
Yeah. Most people know, weed, cannabis, whatever you want to call it. I tend to stray away from the word marijuana, not my favorite word. There's a history behind that, which is something else we could get into. But yeah, weed, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, that's what we've always called it. And there's no reason to differentiate, And like you said, you have the medical uses, the medical benefits of cannabis as a whole, whether we're talking CBD, THC, well-established, more mainstream now. But you also have just the adult use side of it. I genuinely prefer it over alcohol. She referenced my smoking back in the day, but me and alcohol don't get along so well. Don't get me wrong, I have a great time, but the next day, something about my liver and genetics, I pay for it dearly.
Absolutely. I went to Nashville last week and I'm still hurting today. So
I believe it.
Absolutely, man.
I did wake up in a closet though, so
so that's a win. You're not in a bush, you're not in a closet, and then it's a good day. You just got to deal with a little bit of a hangover.
That's it.
But she's had to pick up my slack on a few hungovers.
Yeah, so I'm loving this cannabis beverage. No hangover. You feel refreshed the next day. You're sleeping good. You can get on your work schedule. There's really no setback, which is awesome. And also, I think there's a study that just came out recently that said that alcohol is like one of the #1 leading causes of cancer.
Yeah.
Probably,
which is pretty crazy, and I know that's becoming much more normalized. People are talking about it. People care about their health,
Yep. And I think the key is here, we're not here to demonize alcohol, right? Like I still drink, but just having an alternative available that you can still be social, it's consistent, you can rely on. I think it's just a welcomed option by the public, and I think they're happy to have it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's just kind of take the edge off, right? And the problem with alcohol is you keep going and I go over the edge, right? You want to get that, just say it's friendly, having a good time, but then it's like, oh shit, this guy's a demon now. What happened to this guy's a good guy? What happened to him?
There's something that you've said recently too, where it's like no matter, basically forever, people have always wanted to get intoxicated.
Look at us on the same page. That is literally exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, every culture ever has a history of intoxicants. Most of it's alcohol, but you can, there's not an evolutionary or biological benefit to becoming intoxicated, but yet every culture in existence has some form of intoxication or seeking intoxication. So what value does it actually provide to our lives? I think it has a lot to do with social aspects and just mental well-being. I think there's something to that that makes us all gravitate towards that. And I think just expanding our horizons past alcohol, I think we'll do a pretty big benefit for society.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's just one of the things, and part of it, and we can go into, you can say whatever you want. You're going to be more knowledgeable, intelligent than I am on it. But a lot of this has to do with the pharmaceutical companies not wanting things like this that could be beneficial to your health or whatever, because they want to control, synthetically what it is. So, hey, screw off. I don't really give a shit if you like me or not. You're listening to, McBastard Studio, good for you. If you're not, I'll give you my address after. But my point is, a lot of that's going on. So a lot of this stuff has been pushed, down. I never knew anyone that was a Chiba smoker from growing up, and I knew a lot of you guys smoking a lot of weed. They didn't die from cancer. They didn't die from, there's cirrhosis of the liver, and but no one talks about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the social norm, right? And some science to back up the safety of cannabis. There are definitely downsides to cannabis. I'm not here to turn a blind eye to those, but at the same time, you're actually missing the cannabinoid receptors in the part of your spinal column that controls breathing and heart rate. So physically impossible for THC to stop your heart or stop your breathing. So that goes back to the whole you can't overdose on cannabis is something I always heard, but never really had science to back it up. Well, now we do understand the mechanism as to why that's actually a factor.
Right.
So again, just providing a safer alternative to a large list of things, but just like anything, it threatens industries. And when industries are threatened, laws get passed,
big
things
are
suppressed.
Big money. Let's get it. Go there, David. Let's go, baby. Get in it. Do it.
I don't want anyone coming taking food off my plate, but I also don't have billions of dollars. Right. So, there's a lot of that at play for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the social norm of cannabis and the consumers who want it have really pushed this to the mainstream and helped make it become a legitimate industry.
Yeah.
And especially in the Southeast, where, you know, we're not California, we're not Colorado, we don't have the same level of culture there, but it is growing rapidly. And I think that's why we're seeing the beverages, the hemp industry, just the explosion of it has a lot to do with how ready the Southeast is for a good cannabis movement. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, so the beverage side today, like, where can people get Nine Dot? Like, where can they go and purchase it? And
Yeah, absolutely. Great question.
And I still want to get a lot deeper, but I want to get that out there. So someone, if you want to go buy some right now and come back, we'll be here.
Yeah. So at our own stores are obviously the go-to, but we're just starting the distribution. We're really focused on the Atlanta market. So we just closed some accounts. We're getting into some bigger distribution. So, you know, you are seeing bigger chains right now pick it up, and we're going to be on those shelves very soon. But also e-commerce. That's the other cool part about the hemp industry is, you know, we have age verification, but you can go online, buy this, and have it shipped straight to your front door, and it is 100% legal.
That's
so
awesome.
we can touch anywhere in the country that way. But you're going to start seeing us on more and more shelves. We've established some good accounts in Atlanta, like the Tap on Ponce. We are in Hop City now, Old Fourth Ward Market, couple of restaurants. But we've also recently established laws in Georgia to help more retailers feel comfortable with this.
Yeah.
Like in Georgia, it's a $250 yearly license to sell hemp products. You register through the Department of Agriculture, and that's that.
$250?
$250 per location. That's it.
You'll make it up in your first case.
Exactly. So yeah, and it's just going to get more and more mainstream, right? You're seeing the bigger players pick up on this space, and yeah, you're going to start seeing Nine Dot a lot of places very soon.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna drink. This is my tall boy, right?
Yeah, that's the tall boy. That guy's
the
a
tall
little
boy
more
right
potent
there. I'm gonna try this
Yeah.
after, because later in the
Yes.
afternoon when I have nothing to do, because it's got a little bit more kick to it.
That
right?
does, yeah. So we went a little conservative on our 12-ounce can, which is 3 milligrams. It's palatable for any consumer. It's equivalent to a beer or a glass of wine. Someone with zero cannabis experience can drink that and be fine, because we all know someone who has a bit of a funny and or horror story with edibles.
Yeah.
I hear it every day, all day.
I'm raising my hand.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. I've had my moments with
And once you
edibles.
have a bad experience, it scars you a little bit.
Yeah, it really does.
But I always tell people a 3 milligram is pretty much safe for anybody, obviously over the age of 21.
Yeah.
It's just like one beer is not going to get most people drunk, you know.
Yeah.
One 9 Dot is not going to get most people high. You know, it's a nice light buzz. It's very buildable. I even switch back and forth from one 9 Dot to alcohol, and that's kind of safe. Whereas that tall boy, that's a little too strong for me. That's for people who are much more.
I've got a cot back there.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine,
You'll be
but
fine.
yeah, it is
And
a little strong.
What's also cool about our beverage brand is I'm a huge nerd and I follow the science, right? Like edibles are notoriously inconsistent due to an enzyme in your liver that's responsible for metabolizing THC. It turns it into 11-hydroxy-THC. It's a lot more psychoactive. But depending on your genetics, some people are hypersensitive to the conversion. Some people are missing the enzyme entirely. So that's why a 10 milligram edible is not the same for every consumer, unlike alcohol. So we use a high quality proprietary water soluble nano-emulsification, which is a really big word to say.
I love it.
It absorbs really quickly and consistently. It levels the playing field for consumers. So people who are hypersensitive to edibles, they have a better tolerance to this. People who need mega doses of edibles, though, like I have consumers like, oh, I only eat 100 milligrams, but that's because they have very little of that enzyme, so they need more to get THC in their bloodstream. Where our emulsion will help that THC pass in your stomach lining, so it doesn't rely on the metabolic pathway. So it's really consistent. So my people who need 100 milligrams, I'll give them a can. They come into my store like, oh, I'm not going to bother with a 10 milligram. I say, drink the 10 milligram.
Yeah, or drink 10 of them.
Yeah, no, just drink the one. Drink the one. I promise it's a lot more than what you're expecting because it doesn't rely on that enzyme. So it really levels the playing field on either side.
I would die if I took 100.
A lot of people. Well, not die. You might have an existential life crisis and have a have a different outlook on life from there on out. But you'll be alive.
Physically die, but
Spiritually
Metaphorically,
die for
spiritually,
a while.
ego death.
For a
You
while.
might hit one of those for sure, and a lot of consumers do. We have a little bit of a funny story. You want to?
Tell it.
All the way back from Denver.
True, yeah. Okay, so this was early on in our dating scene. We went to I think we went to California. Was it California maybe?
No, I think it was Denver. I think we came back
Okay,
from Denver.
maybe it was
I'm pretty sure.
Colorado. And we had a red-eye flight. And so David was like, all right, let's, just try to sleep the whole flight home, you eat one gummy, I'm going to eat 10 gummies. Okay, these are peach rings. I was like, sure, perfect, one gummy. I was still trying to be cool girlfriend at the time. So I eat a gummy, he eats the rest of the gummies in the pack, and we get on our flight. He puts his tray table down. That's his way of sleeping on a flight. He says it reminds him of high school.
Yeah, on the desk.
Yeah, head down, that's
He puts his head down.
My
I
guy
try
right
to
there.
put my head down, and I'm like, David? And he's not moving. I'm like, am I even speaking? I don't even know if I'm talking out loud. I was so high. I did not sleep a wink the whole night. He was dead asleep. I swear the tray table or the little cart was going up and down the aisle all night long. It was literally terrible. We landed. I got off the flight, didn't even grab my bags.
She walked right off the plane. Like, where you go? Because I had no concept that anything was off, right?
Yeah.
I thought she slept just like me the whole time. I was like, I'm well rested. And she just walked off the plane. I'm like, that's weird. So I grabbed the bags and followed her off. And then she told me that.
I was like, I did not have a good time. And after that, I was traumatized from edibles a little bit because it was like, okay, that was way too strong for me. And honestly, we sell a lot of THC products in our stores, but until 9 Dot, I wasn't really open to trying THC because I was scared. And what I liked about this was that I knew how it would make me feel in about 10 minutes. I knew if I didn't like it, it was over in 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, that time frame of alcohol, which is like very familiar and like comfortable.
Right.
You know, we know if we have one cocktail, it's going to work in this time. And by the time I'm ready to go home, it's out of my system. And this was that same thing, which made me feel really comfortable because if, you know, kind of like an edible where it takes 1 to 3 hours to kick in. Okay, I'm getting anxiety. Is it kicking in? Is it not?
And then you take the
you take another one.
That's a mistake.
Yep,
absolutely.
Exactly. That's always a mistake.
That's a mistake, folks. I know from experience. Just wait it out. Wait
it out.
Yeah. For those at home, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Don't eat more within 3 hours because it could take that long for full effects. And I hear it every other day in the store. I ate a gummy. I didn't feel it. I ate 5 more.
Yeah.
I went to the I went to the ER room. You know what I mean? Like I freaked out. But really, they were just having anxiety.
Yeah.
And also, for those at home, no need to go to the ER. Call your friend. They'll talk you off the shelf. You're just having anxiety, elevated heart rate, overthinking. You're fine.
But it's weird. It's like, you know, you don't like I don't like that feeling where I'm totally like, what?
And I want it to be over when I want it to be over.
Yeah.
I don't like that long lasting forever and a day. I got to sleep it off. Like, no.
Yeah. That's like, it sounds, I can't wait to try one because it sounds like, it's like alcohol too. I mean, if you want, I'm going to have 3 or 4 beers. That's it. Whatever.
Exactly.
You can kind of regulate. All right, I'm good. I know when I get that point, I've matured enough at 56. I learned last year, but at 56, I've learned enough. Like, okay, if I do one more drink, I'm like,
Too much.
It's gonna get ugly.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna be streaking through the, the street or some weird stuff like that. Anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you're going to start seeing THC beverages at sporting events, right? Like I know I've heard through the grapevine that some talks are going on right now about bringing them on in some really main street applications like sporting events.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine going to a Phillies game and on draft you have, an IPA over here, but you also have a 5 milligram 9 Dot option, like just on draft.
Yeah.
That's
9
the
Dot
coolest
on
thing
draft.
in the world.
Yeah, I love that.
We're working on kegs right now. Keg stability is underway in formulation at the moment.
Well, I mean, I think it'd be good because the effects typically from an aggression perspective, and you're probably more articulate than I would be on that, but like alcohol will make people get aggressive.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody, on a gummy or smoked a chiba. I've never seen him like, oh God, this guy's like insane. Like and so I think that I don't know if there's a calming effect. I have no idea, but yeah.
Well, I've always heard too. You want to create world peace, get all the world leaders real high in one room, talk it out. I'm sure they'll figure their shit out.
I'm thinking at the sporting games though, like that's actually probably going to bring a lot more money to the concessional stands,
Absolutely.
right? Like, I mean, people are going to be getting nachos. They're going to be wanting to eat
nachos and 9 Dot. That's the new T-shirt. Nachos and 9 Dot coming out from SaltyMF soon.
Yeah.
It's only going to bring more revenue to the sports center, so I'm all for it.
I mean, I'm excited for you guys. I mean, it's just really cool. I don't know how old you guys are, but you're young. You're like everyone's a lot younger than me now, and even Chad. But we're Chad and Brad. We got hosed in the Super Bowl. Did you see the ad of the Chad and Brad?
Yeah, we're over Chad and Brad.
Oh my God, we got hosed, dude. I'm retaliating.
Oh,
I'm
no.
retaliating.
Have you heard this, David?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Oh, I mean, it's just like girl power, you know?
Yeah.
We're just like over Chad and Brad's.
Yeah, they were. They
Any
called my
guy
name
with-
out. They blasted me.
Yeah.
my
Gonna
name.
be the new Karens before you know it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Brad's like Karen. Hey, I'm a nice guy. I'm drinking Nine Dot, chilled out. I get a
chill.
gin in.
He's
I mean,
chill.
what's wrong?
You can't hate him.
Don't diss on Brads and Chads.
Not all Brads and Chads are bad.
Thank you,
Just some
Crystal.
more stereotypes.
More so, any guy with the letter J with
Yeah.
the first name. I know us girls also don't like those guys.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's just, who knows? I think
Who
it's
knows?
bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink Nine Dot and not worry about it.
Yeah,
That's
there we
what I'm
go.
going to do.
Yeah.
So what do you, like, what are your aspirations to, like, are you going to have, like, how many different flavors right now? I know the tropical, I saw that.
Yep.
That was awesome. You got the big boy, tall boy there.
Yeah.
Like,
So we have the 12-ounce can, 3 milligrams. We have the tall boy, high boy, whatever you want to call it, 10 milligram can. We also have our elixir, which is like a little concentrate. I believe it's right over there. That is a concentrate version that is, I'll take it with me to the bar. So a bar that doesn't offer these beverages, I order a soda water with lime. I make my own cannabis cocktail right on the spot.
I love it.
And we use in those, we use real, I'm also big on the ingredient list, right? So I like my ingredient list pretty short and clean. So like with the elixirs, it is legitimately cold pressed fruit juice, cane sugar, ginger root, the water, and the cannabis emulsion. It's pasteurized, but yeah, it's really tasty. So, and then more flavors. We have probably 3 or 4 flavors in development right now.
Yeah.
We're really working on getting our scale up with the current stock, but we have some flavors in the.
I love it. The cannabis cocktail. I just love that. Just comes right off the lips really well.
Cannabis cocktail. Because that's how this started, right? I developed before we went on to the can, the elixir, we called it, actually one of our under our different brand. We developed it for the better part of 2 years, dialing in that emulsion, all natural THC, the flavor profile, the effects, making sure that everything we've been talking or joking about, the consistency is on point. Like we're not just saying these things.
Yeah.
And we worked really hard to get that dialed in, and we're really happy with it. And then that's when we launched Nine Dot. We've been working on the branding in the background, making sure that when we go to market, we're ready to go. And that's what we did about 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's it's really funny. It's really cool to sit on this side and see you guys as entrepreneurs and really like knowing your shit.
Yeah.
Right. And really understanding like the marketing side of it, the scientific side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Like, because most, if you're talking about cannabis, people, hey, man, Cheech and Chong kind of thing. And it sounds like these people are really smart people. And it's really cool to like see that.
For sure. And then for me personally, that stemmed a lot from diving into the cannabis culture, right? Like I went to the first Cannabis Cup in Denver, the High Times Cannabis Cup. Don't quote me on the year. Good bit of time
Probably
ago,
like
though.
2012.
I was gonna say 2011, 2012, I think. That was one of my first trips to Colorado and my first experience like in a dispensary. And like I had questions, right? Like the sativa, why does it make me more energized? The indica, why does it make me more sleepy? Why do edibles take forever and last? So all these questions, and not throwing shade to anyone, but you get some bud tenders, some shop employees like, oh man, this one's good, this one's better, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, but like. Why?
Yeah, why
What's
is
the
it?
difference?
Yeah.
And that kind of started my quest for just falling down a rabbit hole.
That's awesome.
And shout out Future 4200 forums. If you know, you know. Great resource run by amazing people. Wealth of knowledge there. You get chemists, PhDs, who are all chiming in on creating the narrative about backing up the science. And then, really cool people like Allison Justice. She runs the Cannabis Research Coalition. She has a whole great team behind her. We're talking real PhDs who are doing actual scientific research to back up the stigmas or the preconceived notions about cannabis. So we're seeing a lot of that come out, and that's kind of, the backbone of our company has always been education and being able, when someone comes into our store, well, why does smoking make me feel different than an edible? I have an actual answer for that. I can tell you exactly why.
I don't know, man.
Just eat it, bro.
Just eat it, bro.
Just eat another one,
man.
No.
I just be the tester for Alice and them. I'll just be a tester.
Yeah.
Get this big hairy guy in here and test.
What's funny, they actually had a research study, and then I think it's probably still going on, where you might know it better than me, but they were smoking different joints It was the smoking research study. What
Yeah,
was
they're
that
studying
exactly?
the actual content of smoke. Because fun fact, that's never really been studied. We've studied the contents of cannabis itself, but like what happens during combustion, because temperature does all sorts of things to cannabis. So they're studying the content of the smoke itself. They actually also kind of smashed a stigma in the industry. This was kind of what started her research journey from the Cannabis Research Coalition perspective. White ash has always been a myth in the cannabis industry. Like you have a joint, can't be a blunt, but like a joint paper,
Right.
and that ash burns completely white. It's a really clean product. There's not any contaminants in it. It's kind of
Now everyone's gonna be looking out. And
yeah, no, for
"What
sure.
is
When
it
you
like,
when you
man?"
get those real dark ashy stuff, it's
Not
it's a
good.
rule I lived by for a long time. And what she was actually able to establish is that mineral content from the water, because you're supposed to flush your plants during the last stages of growing, no nutrients, no anything, just water. She was actually able to establish that she was using in her hemp farm, she was using creek water, and it had a higher mineral content, and the ash was a little dark. And so she was able to establish that it's not necessarily 100%. I mean, white ash is always good. White ash, great sign, but a little darker ash isn't necessarily a contaminated product. So it's just interesting because that's always been like a rule of thumb in the cannabis industry to have some science to kind of discredit that a little bit was cool to see unfold.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're talking this happened just a couple years ago.
Well, it's just funny is because like the whole nicotine, thing now that's coming out, that nicotine's actually not really bad for you, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's good for your brain, firing your neurons and that.
exactly.
And I was a big tobacco person for a long time, and my kids finally came to me like, Dad, you're getting old, dude. You need to stop like dipping. It's disgusting, and you've got to stop. And and you need to try this, Zen product. And to me, it was like, wow, it really it helped me in several ways. But I do feel I can tell the nicotine. I'm like a 18-year-old just.
Cool.
My brain's going. So
yeah, it's fascinating to see. Again, just going back to our all history, we've seeked out some level of intoxicants, and they provide a lot of value in a lot of ways. And I think you're even seeing some of the trends in the psychedelic world too, right? Like psilocybin research that's going on. John Hopkins did a big study. MDMA was very close to being FDA approved just the end of last year. I think it was, and then they took it away. They said, they weren't able to do a double-blind placebo-controlled study because with MDMA, it's that you've taken that or not. You can't, that you've taken that,
awesome.
right? But it's actually for veterans, a lot of veterans with PTSD. And it's fascinating because it just crams the equivalent of like a decade of therapy into a couple sessions.
that's awesome.
So yeah, take a little MDMA and you can really heal from some trauma.
That's awesome. Well, we've got several like ex-vet organizations that we work with. And by the way, if you hear something that sounds like a dinosaur, we're not on set and, the next dinosaur movie is. They're putting a new roof on. And next time, use universal roofing because whatever's going on here is taking way too long. So we're not on a dinosaur set.
Yeah. Well,
So if you hear that growling noise,
absolutely.
they're drilling stuff.
yeah.
I thought it was maybe the air conditioning.
Yeah, now we got
Hey,
new
new
air
roof.
conditioners in the
Yeah.
building and everything. It's just it's a big building, so they're
If we were high, we probably would think it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
was
probably would think it was
Oh,
dinosaurs.
what is
It's
this,
like,
man?
oh, no,
What are we doing? So the building is actually used though. So a lot of people, Iron Man, and a lot of like this building's been used for that because you
That's
walked
cool.
in, it looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it was the guy who built it was like a Star Trek
Wow, that's really cool.
30
I
years
could
ago.
see that,
So
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
Enterprise. That's the
Right.
front of the Enterprise
Yeah.
starship. So
Yeah, 'cause the
you're
first time
actually
I-
in like a spaceship.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's the first time I seen the building, and I thought it was really cool when we
Yeah.
pulled in the parking lot. So
It's a cool
Yeah.
spot, man. It's a
Yeah.
cool spot. So hey, roofers, get done. We got stuff to
Yeah,
do.
come on.
we're talking, we're
Hey,
podcasting.
hey, we're
man.
talking about cannabis drinks
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Nine
yeah.
Dot. If you haven't, we're going to give those roofers some 9 Dot. I'm going to give them the 10 milli after this.
Maybe once they're off the roof. Liability
But
standpoint.
one thing I would say though is the 9 Dot does have sativa terpenes, so uplifting terpenes. So it's hopefully going to keep them more motivated to
Yeah.
get that roofing done
it-
and not be lazy on the couch.
Well, we should have done that a month ago. Where were you guys? Where were you
They're
guys?
a little behind
It's taking a
already.
little bit too long, right?
Yeah.
But
But yeah, that goes back to what she was saying, just the recreating that more social aspect of we wanted to use a little bit more of that uplifting effect of THC because THC is THC, but minor ingredients can make it a little more relaxing, a little bit more uplifting. It's more apparent in inhalation, but still has an effect effect with edibles. So we use sativa terpene profile as well as CBG. So like the tall boy is also 10 milligrams of CBG for a little bit that more uplifting THC effect. So it's good for those social settings.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. I think this is going to I really think now that, other than if the regulatory stuff and all that clears the way, I think it's, one day, just like you said, you're not going to get a beer, you're getting a 9 Dot.
Yeah.
I'll take a 9 Dot.
Yeah.
I think 9 Dot is perfect for people who grew up on first Four Locos, which I know that was definitely our generation.
Yeah, but before they were banned.
Now we've all switched to espresso martinis. So clearly there's something about getting intoxicated and having something a little bit uplifting.
A little uplifting, yeah, exactly.
Because we're all tired all the time. We're all sleepy. We need something that's a little bit of a boost. And that's, I think, why 9 Dot is the perfect beverage.
Yeah.
Because we're getting that fix of a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appealing.
And, that was the funniest thing when we heard that espresso martinis are just the adult version of Four Locos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or the elder.
They definitely are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
we've gotten into kind of the music space pretty hard with our band groupie service. You and I were talking about that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll be putting on mini concerts around Atlanta and stuff. So I don't know. We'd love to get you guys involved in that.
We'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to play a part.
Let them do a little taste or two or whatever. Sell some 9 Dot. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Music sounds better with 9 Dot. That is a proven fact.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we'll make that shirt for you.
Yeah, and we're working with some other venues in Atlanta right now. We're probably closing the deal with a few of those here in the very near future. So when we go into spring season, you'll see it at some nightlife venues, which will be really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, you obviously are intelligent, articulate, know what you're doing, and have been in it long enough. It's not something you just got into. I mean, you're almost going on a decade of being in it. So a lot of learning, and then being a big fan and of it.
Yeah.
Previously,
doesn't hurt. I've been a cannabis enthusiast, to say it lightly, for quite some time.
Well, that's one thing I always think about is why we are successful in the industry is because I think people usually go in it at two different ways. One, they just love weed or they just love cannabis and they maybe are not so business oriented, or you're just in it because you think it's a quick way to get rich. You're just in it for the profit. And I think you lose sight of what's important about the industry. So, I think because we are the perfect mix of we care about cannabis, we care about good quality products, we care about the industry. We're not going to do things that we wouldn't be proud of in front of cannabis companies in Colorado. I think that's something we kind of talk about. But also we are business,
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
right.
It's a good combination.
Absolutely, and it's.
Do we want to take on Denver now?
Yeah.
Do you want to get into that, David? Do you want to take on Denver? Let's take them on.
I love the Denver community. The cannabis community out there is great. Got a lot of friends, a lot of companies who do things really, really well. They have some of the best concentrates in the country, some really nice hash rosin. But one thing I will say is as much time we spent in Atlanta, Atlanta cannabis culture is giving Denver a run for their money, if not more friendly.
ATL, baby.
I mean, obviously the access to high quality cannabis a little bit more restricted, but in terms of public consumption, just the general outlook, how normalized it is here.
Right.
I'd say I see it more in public than I do in Denver. It's pretty wild. Music venues, it's everywhere here. And I love it. I'm here for it. And I think it's only going to continue to grow. And Denver, it's a strong community, but I think I'd stand on the hill of Atlanta as a more friendly cannabis community.
East Coast, baby.
East Coast, Denver, baby. Colorado, come for us, man. I mean, hey, we can't touch your hash, but the culture here is very real, very strong.
Yeah, that's great. I think you guys are obviously doing really well now, but I was really excited when we were talking to Chad about having you guys on and help highlight what you're doing, because it's obviously, to the community that's listening, you know what you're talking about. You're trying to put a good product out. Yep. You're in it for the long run. And that's, as we love entrepreneurs, love people doing fun stuff, cool stuff. And you're doing it. So
yeah, absolutely. It's been weird to see myself go into more of a quote entrepreneurial role, right? It just kind of happened slowly. I started a previous business to this, and going back to how well we work as a partnership. She's been with me since day one, right?
That's awesome.
I was not well established.
Yeah, we've done many different ventures.
Yeah. We did a grocery delivery service way back in the day. I mean, this was again like 12 years ago. We had a wristband power bank. It's called Boost Band. We took that to some music festivals. So she was out there sleeping on tent floors, not making any money.
This was early 20s, where it was like really fun to be able to go to EDC Las Vegas.
Driving across the country, hitting multiple music festivals.
You don't really care how many units you sold. You're like, I'm having a good time
cool.
anyways, whatever.
But it taught me a lot. I learned a lot of lessons, and with Boost Band, we had everything invested in our first production run. Essentially, we made a pretty glaring mistake in the design of the product that made it not able to be sold. So that is a literal flaw in the product. We didn't make the cord long enough, so when you put it over your hand, the cord around the side from the circuit to the battery would break.
Because what Boost Band was it was a bracelet that would charge your phone.
Oh, cool.
This was like before power bricks were or power banks were like very popular, or like
they were you were getting like a 500 mAh battery. It was a stick that was your only option. This was before 50,000 mAh power banks, right? So
great idea though.
So we designed that. I had zero product design experience. Working with a business partner at the time, we had that product made, manufactured. We had everything invested in this. I was leveraged in debt. It was not a great position to be in, but we went for it. Got in our very first batch, and as we were playing with them the first time, I realized, oh no, they all break. We don't have any more money. Credit cards are maxed out. What do we do? That's when we came up with the rental model, just out of pure necessity. Hey, we can go to music festivals and rent these. So when they do break, we'll just replace it. Yeah. So we did like an unlimited charging thing, price dependent on the festival. But you come pay us, you get unlimited charging for the whole event. When they break, whatever, we throw it away. We just need to make enough money to get our next batch into production.
That's awesome.
And the first music festival, Ohio Fashion Meets Music Festival, it was not a camping music festival. But again, we really didn't know what we were doing. Packed a van, drove all the way to Ohio. We made like $800 in 3 days. In total revenue, not profit. We made $800. I was depressed. I was like, we're done. This is it. Should we even go to the next music festival? Like, we really don't even have the gas money to get there. What are we going to do? But we sucked it up. We drove out to Summer Camp Music Festival in Peoria, Illinois. Shout out Summer Camp. You saved my business. And we absolutely crushed it there. We made, more than enough to get our next round in production, as well as establish ourselves in some additional festivals for the fall.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out Summer Camp. Seriously, you saved my business. You saved probably my entrepreneurial spirit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because that first one was disheartening, and that one was very affirming.
But that's kind of what people think like entrepreneurship is so glamorous, and that your first idea out, it's like crushing it, and there's so many stories. You're kind of learning, like you said. I'm not a podcast guy. We've never been in apparel and shit about apparel. All this stuff, but you just kind of get in it and try to keep going and keep and look at where you're at now. Nine Dot wouldn't be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without the summer camp, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out summer camp. You guys, carry summer camp. Let's get 9 Dot on your menu. We
absolutely
get it up there
summer camp. I'm going to call you out. You save this guy once. This time he's going to save you. 9 Dot. Everybody's drinking 9 Dot.
Exactly. So man, like you said, it's if you're not on the verge of failure or bankruptcy, you're not really pushing the limit like that. And I think everyone I've talked to who's kind of self-made from that aspect has very similar stories. You don't hit it, your first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You got to just keep pushing. And if you don't have that determination, it's probably not a good avenue to go down.
But who's going to save you though?
Yeah, no one.
In life, who's going to save you?
It's interesting because I think that's part of what pushed me to have the level of dedication that I do have, because I was not a great student, right?
I wasn't either.
I was not a great employee. And I think the weight of everything being on my shoulders, the success, the failure, all on me, is what pushed me to get to where I'm at, and probably the biggest reason I have had the success that I have had. Because again, not a great employee, definitely. It's
all of my weight on his shoulders.
And you had a lovely wife pushing you to.
That did not hurt anything at all.
To get off the Chiba and create a beverage.
Scheduling him.
She keeps me on track. She's my partner. I could not have gotten to where I am without her wholeheartedly.
That's awesome. It's so cool. Like, we just had Grant and Aaron Stala on. They own Stala Services. So they got into the mobile restroom, bathhouse, bunkhouse. Now they've got washing machines in it. And they're everywhere. Festivals, any kind of natural disaster, whatever. And they're a husband and wife team.
Awesome.
They were just on. remote. But call out to Stala Services, get your trailer out there. But it was just amazing. Like, this is cool. Like, they took a business like, nobody likes these stinky plastic,
right.
porta potty things. Let's create like the Taj Mahal, Hilton of this. When you go to events, you don't have to be like, oh God, I don't want to go in there.
No, it's the best. Yeah.
But the community, like what you find when you start even doing this stuff, like we all have like so many similarities, like where we can help people and help each other. And that's what's been cool about just, a lot of dealing with people that come on the show. Like we really I know you don't see the connection, but there is a connection,
We're all
right?
connected,
There's a connection. Like we can all like benefit from this stuff. And
absolutely.
that's what I love about like just sitting in this chair drinking coffee and nicotine.
A little nicotine, coffee, a little stimulants.
Honestly, I would have loved their company when we were doing music festivals, because that was the worst part was the porta potties. Like that was where I kind of drew the line. I was like, David, if they're not giving us VIP, I can't do this anymore because I don't want to for a whole weekend.
And I've never seen a human being use the restroom less than this one at a festival.
I was like, one sip, one little.
You haven't gone all day. What do we do? Are you okay? Is your bladder going to survive?
Yeah, I was like, I'm just using this to rehydrate my body. I do not need to pee. I just will rehydrate my body. Like I would literally tell myself that and, get through it.
Well, and then luckily too, she would connect with my business partner who was a little more sensitive to the restroom facilities than I was. So they'd like drive out to a Walmart, They would literally leave the festival, go hit a clean restroom and come back.
I'm not going to call my wife out, but honey, I would tell some stories, but I'm not going to do it.
We need to bring her on. Where's she at?
No, she would tell a lot of stories about me.
We'll have some 9 dots with her and hear those stories and laugh a lot.
Well, that's cool too, though, because like my wife and daughter are allergic to alcohol. Like they're allergic to it. So if they drink, sorry, Madeline, I'm exposing all y'all stuff, but like they just can't.
Right.
They get flushed.
Probably a blessing.
Whatever.
Sure.
But I mean, something like that, 9 Dot. You're not going to have that same effect that alcohol does.
And then they still get to socialize in the same way that we're all kind of conditioned to socialize. Cheers. You get a cup in your hand, a can in your hand. It's just our culture, right? And I think giving people an alternative is huge.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody. I don't know. You guys are the kind of the light buzz kind of idea or whatever, but it's true. I mean, everybody needs just kind of it needs a chance to just relax. I mean, a lot of shit goes on in the world. Whenever don't go off on heroin or anything. But or crack. But just have a 9 Dot. I mean, it's not going to do anything to you. But I'm excited to be educated on it because I really see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and the wave is coming, and we talked a little bit about some of the downsides of alcohol or some other things, prescription medications, but stress, it's overlooked, right? Like we, especially, going back to the entrepreneurial mindset, like it's a high stress environment, roller coaster, right? So having, something you can rely on to unwind, de-stress on a consistent basis, I think,
and not kill your body.
Exactly. It's almost an unmeasurable, value.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love it. So, I mean, you guys have been awesome. This is your platform. It's all about you. And anything you want to tell the public, that we haven't gone over, and whatever, whatever. It's your show, Crystal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your show.
Only has 35 calories, 3 grams of added sugar, so it's healthy.
We have a little salesman mindset.
Saleswoman
mindset. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's good for you.
She'll
35 calories, ladies.
That's what
better
I
than a Diet Coke.
Way better than a Diet Coke. No fake sugars. I mean, that's worth a lot.
Yeah, and one thing I'll make sure to shout out is I'm also on the board of a nonprofit, American Healthy Alternatives Association. We've really been working a lot. I'm on the South Carolina board for our South Carolina chapter. Really been working a lot over the last few years to implement federal and state policies to keep particularly hemp accessible, safe, and consistent for not only consumers but business owners. Because I know so many people who have put everything on the line to jump into the hemp industry.
Absolutely.
And then you get rug pulled at the 5-yard line. They move the goalpost, and it's disheartening when 'cause going back to entrepreneurial. You might not make money the first couple of years, right?
Yeah,
like
you're probably not.
Yeah.
Hey, I've done it, been there, done that. You're probably not.
Exactly.
3-4 years in, yes.
And then for the laws or regulations, especially when lobbying happens from really really powerful people to try and eliminate an industry, it's so apparent. And it happened all throughout the Southeast. I think the industry grew as a threat.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. That was a big one, man. That was there was millions and millions of dollars dumped into lobbying to make hemp products illegal. And the only reason it wasn't is it was vetoed. And shout out JD. He is the man. He founded American Healthy. He had a big hand in that.
That's awesome.
And he's helped spread that advocacy state by state. We've done a lot over the last year in South Carolina. We've had a lot of back and forth, particularly law enforcement is our Achilles heel right now in South Carolina. They're giving us a lot of pushback, but I was just at a Department of Agriculture subcommittee hearing yesterday. Day before. It's all blurring together now. It's been a lot in this last few weeks, but yeah, we need our bill passed, right? And we're kind of beating them at their own game. We get a lot of support, and if any consumers out there want to take a look at the websites, you can go to the national chapter. We have schealthy.org is the South Carolina chapter website. Any way you guys can support, spread the word, we would greatly appreciate it, because we're all funded by small business owners, right? There's a few big players in the hemp industry, but 90% of it is small mom and pop, local, regional people, and we've come together over the last few years to kind of take down Goliath.
And you should. I mean, I'm not a big TikTok guy. I mean, that's obviously past like what my age would do, but like even banning TikTok, I understand it's a Chinese company and all this stuff, but I know personally a lot of entrepreneurs that built their business on TikTok. Like it's their business. And they're doing pretty good revenue on it. So like when that was starting to happen, I'm like, these son of a bitches don't realize that these like small businesses employ like 65 to 67% of the population, by the way. You think it's the big companies or whatever. It's small businesses, like David and Crystal, like us, whatever, that are employing 65, 67% of the working age people. So when you just kind of flippantly say, oh, well, whatever, blah, 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 and shut something down, you impacted millions and millions of people because some dipshit, wherever you're up at, like doesn't really think about it, doesn't understand business, doesn't understand. This is not OPM, other people's money. This is not taxpayer money. It's our money. And so, dude, I'm with you. I'm going to fly the flag.
Keep hemp legal.
Give me the flag. I'll fly it right there next time.
It's freedom, man. We live in an amazing country with such opportunity that a lot of other countries don't have, right? You can start with nothing and build something substantial, a real future for your family, rather quickly. I mean, it's not a lack of effort. It's hard. It's stressful, but it's doable. And I think that every politician needs to pay attention to keeping that American dream alive as much as we can.
We are paying your salaries.
Don't
forget
that. We are. Yeah.
Hopefully that comes out. We are paying your salaries.
No, you're
so,
right, man. So,
Crystal, anything else?
No. Happy to be here.
No. Well, you guys have been amazing, and we'd love to continue to support you. And so, anything you guys want to send to us, you're now part of the SaltyMF Bastards family. So whether you want to get out of it or not, you're stuck. You're in it. You're part
we love it, man. We're happy to be here. And last thing I'll end it on is a two-part. One, social media for us, you brought that up, kind of ticked it in my brain. She does all of our social media. She's phenomenal at it. But we're in an uphill battle. The algorithm gods do not like us. We are shadow banned. It is really hard. We're restricted on advertisement. We don't get to go the same channels that everyone else gets to go. And, it's kind of disheartening, all the effort she puts into overseeing this content, creating it, delivering our brand story, for it to just be shadow banned and not, get in the algorithm like every other business pretty much gets the opportunity to. So shout out 9 Dot on Instagram.
Drink 9 Dot.
Drink 9 Dot.
We're going to shout it out. We get shadow banned too with a name like SaltyMF and some of the stuff we're doing in the McBastards. One PR firm I know we won't say, but like we were trying to share some content and they didn't accept it from our studio. And then I thought about it, I was like, SaltyMF and McBastards, if someone doesn't know who we are, I don't know if I would accept that as well. But we early on, I mean, we have a patriotic stint to us as well. And so I would say, we started about 3 years ago, and if you know of all the censorship, it was happening. By the way, and now coming out, we got caught in that algorithm thing as well, and it's disheartening because if you look at our story, what we're really about, we're about people, we're about you, we're about stories, and it's not some crazy off the wall
exactly.
The goats are not satanic, by the way. They stand for independence. We're not Luciferians. They stand for independence. So,
Internet loves their conspiracy theories, though.
Someone goes, are you like a special ops spook? It's a goat, because the goat's used as, I'm like, no.
Wait, the Earth isn't flat?
Yeah, no, I'm like, no, you're not. It just stands for independence, dude. It's kind of a ram, actually, but we call it a goat. But you guys have been awesome, and
thank you.
And certainly, so out there, Salty Nation, check out 9 Dot. You can get it on the e-commerce. So if you're not here locally or in one of the stores.
Drink9.com. And a portion of all of our revenue across all of our businesses goes back to supporting our nonprofit. It's unfortunately a money-heavy lane to be in, but we do our best to keep our revenue going straight back into that. So anything you guys can do to support us, furthers that mission. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So... I can go online, order as much as I want.
Absolutely,
right?
ship straight to your door.
Anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
No.
Just
United
States, yes.
United States.
Yeah, outside of the country, not so much. They don't
near
have,
the Gulf of America.
In the Gulf of America.
We get in the Gulf of America as well, folks. Right along the side, the Gulf of America, right down there in Florida. Get it? You'll love it.
Yep. And fast shipping. Anything before 3 p.m. goes out same day.
That's awesome.
Every day of the week.
Well, I'm going to enjoy my 9 Dot. Is it the high boy or tall boy?
High boy, tall boy, whatever you want to call it.
I want to be the
boy.
I want to be the marketing guy that gets it right. So
we'll call it a high boy.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a high boy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try the high boy
Because
after.
you're going to be a high boy.
Yeah.
I'll give a special interview on the high boy, how I felt, what happened,
Nice.
and support 9 Dot and David and Crystal here. And you guys have been amazing. You're an inspiration. I love it. I love seeing, and my wife is behind the scenes. She's the one that keeps me in line. She's got the toughest job in the world. But honey, you're a good woman. So, well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. Love to have you back when you're flying in on your jet. Let me know.
Thanks for having us.
Pick me up.
We're happy to be here. We're gonna support the SaltyMF brand. That's awesome. Love what you guys are doing. Appreciate the support. So definitely a mutual appreciation there.
Yeah, I always ask everyone, even with the stall, I was telling them we love co-branding around T-shirts and stuff because we can do crazy stuff. And I think the high boy stuff like that. We love to throw some gear together.
We'll put our marketing brains together and come up with something funny.
It'd be fun.
Man.
The Georgia Hemp Company, I told you they were on. So the Georgia Hemp Screen Hat Classics coming up. Don't miss that. It supports the Cal Pease Foundation.
Nice.
That's coming up in April. Is it the week before Masters? April 14th? April 14th, the Green Hat Classic. Don't miss that. We were out there last year, and they invited us. It was so much fun. We were flying around, interviewing people, doing crazy stuff, and there's nothing like people smoking a bunch of hemp and drinking brews. And 9 Dot this year, hopefully, at the event. But it's just the community's amazing.
Absolutely, and like you said, man, shout out Joe, Georgia Hemp Co., great team, great people. They do a lot of advocacy. He is a beacon of light in the industry in the state for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So go really support them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody it's so funny. We support all the brands and people that come on.
Yep.
Because that's really what it's about. You're talking about Goliath earlier. You're talking about Goliath. Well, we're the Davids. And the Crystals and the Brad and Chad. Don't take that negative. We got a shirt coming out. You're gonna love it. But but anyways, we're all in it, and you guys are amazing. Drink 9 Dot, try it out, give it a taste, see what you like. Hopefully you'll see it in bars and venues all around Atlanta soon. Well, they're already here, but on a broader scale. We're grateful to have you guys on, so come back. But you're always welcome here.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time, your expertise, the platform. It's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming. Crystal, any closing remarks?
Nope,
She's just going to sit here and look beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, you guys are an awesome couple. Yeah, well, that's it today from the Bastard Studio, SaltyMF GOAT podcast. Let's go. Drink 9 Dot.